Good morning. What is going on, peoples? Yes. I've been getting questions actually from a few people over the weekend actually about how to get customers in logistics, in freight transportation as a freight broker, as a 3PL company. Um, just kind of some tips or advice on how to go about it. So that's why I'm making this video particularly. Um, Look at it this way: if you got to look at it as if you're building a pipeline. In other words, it takes time. Nothing's going to happen overnight. Absolutely nothing in this planet will happen overnight when it comes to business. From a philosophical perspective, it will take time to make sure that pipeline is built properly. In North America, here, business is a different thing. People have shifted 100% to relationships in order to get business. This does not mean you will have to love someone 100% or that they will have to love you back 100% in order to do business with one another. But it does mean you will have to understand or be willing to understand the shipper's business inside and out on the shipping side of things in order to win any of their business. I would also venture as far as to say that you might even need to know their entire business, their operations, how it works, from their accounting to everything else. But again, from a shipper to shipper kind of view, uh, I would say you would have to know their their shipper's business very well. In other words, their shipping side of things very well. So how do you gain this knowledge? What do you do? Where do you go? What do you say? Who do you speak to? I would say that you would have to talk to the decision makers. So that might be a director of logistics or a shipping manager, a traffic manager, a director of logistics, a director of supply chain would be able to kind of direct you in the right path. If they're a good human being, I mean, they should be quite open to you as a service provider wanting to help them move their freight to give you the proper channels to do that. So they might say, hey, the best person to contact would be so and so. You would have to ask questions, and you'd have to ask a lot of questions. You'd have to ask how their volume is. Do they have the high volume shipments? And are you prepared as a service provider to offer capacity for high volume? Or vice versa, are you ready to do low volume customer service? People that have those 2 3 shipments a month, are you ready to give them the light of day to move those and find them options for the spot, on the spot market? Or if it goes onto a contractual basis where you're doing 3 4 shipments a month, are you prepared to do that? Are you prepared to find them capacity for that as a 3PL or freight broker? Next question would be what their current providers are doing properly and with high degrees of efficiencies. So, are they on time? Are they responsive? Are they attentive to details, of each request that comes through? Are they accurately finding the right capacity to provide the capacity to the shipper? This is a good knowledge for you as a competitor to have to see who is offering what, and are they offering it at that highest point of customer service in terms of satisfaction by the shipper or from the shipper, however you want to say it. Next would be what are their current providers not doing that they wish that the shipper wishes that the provider was doing. Does the current provider lack visibility on the shipments from a shipment to shipment basis? Or is there no integration between the TMS and the customer's system? Maybe that's something the shipper needs in order for you to do business with them. This is the way of the future. It's gonna be like that way where everything is on kind of one all-inclusive platform, so to say. Next down the list would definitely be why does that customer buy? Now, this would be a part of your customer profile in the beginning when you go after a shipper. You kind of look at them, you research about them, and you see why they might buy services. Now, it's that argument between price versus service, that where that threshold and balance is. So, as an example, I reached out to a man who wanted $1.20 a mile. He was doing this to move thousands of shipments, thousands of loads, and simply left it on the table for someone else to come in and to provide that to him. He wanted the utmost service, so details, attention to service, dedicated truckloads, just-in-time service, seals, vetting of all carriers to be provided in writing for each carrier to be used, and I weighed the options and decided it is not worth my time. It is not worth the carrier's worth in any currency because I know the carrier's operating costs. I know the minimum, and I sure as hell know that they would struggle providing these services for these numbers. First and foremost, it would be fine to find good quality with these kind of numbers. So, when I did deeper research into this man and this company, it was $40 million in savings, or per year $10 million in savings in transportation costs. These guys are not interested in building any kind of balanced relationship. It's a win-lose situation. So winner would be the shipper, the loser would be anyone that takes that freight. It's that simple. It's finding a balance between both, so you're fair in your approach as the broker in 3PL or 3PL, and from the shipper's perspective, to have that balance between price and service. So you're not paying out of your bum, but you're also not suffocating your providers where they might cease operations or stop doing business with you altogether, or potentially not being able to struggle to cover certain lanes because it's that price versus service argument that's been going on in logistics for thousands of years, it seems. The next would be what raw materials or finished product do they ship. Now, this is important to know who you have contracted to do business with. This will help you always make sure the right equipment is sent in for loading, and you may even be able to help your customers' logistics department save money by selecting the appropriate options depending on what they're shipping. They might be overpaying because they want to ship on a particular type of platform or flatbed that isn't exactly the right choice for their shipments. You can save the money by moving them over on a different type of equipment. It happens, man. It happens all the time where this kind of stuff is a regular occurrence. Next would be what areas do they ship to and from. Understanding and acknowledging where the shipper ships to and from will help you better select the appropriate carriers for these lanes. You will be able to select the carriers that have capacity in these lanes. Most carriers will provide you with fair rates if you can offer them some sort of fair volume within specific lanes. This doesn't mean you will utilize the terminology of backhaul, but it does mean you will be able to solidify all of your relationships by being a reliable choice for both shipper and carrier. And I think that's very important, for sure. And next would be what equipment do they utilize to move their shipments. As an example, customers who move conveyor systems will look to move them on curtain sides or Conestoga trailers because they don't want issues with tarps and tarping. Sometimes the driver will go in, he refuses to tarp, it'll delay the shipment because they might have to find another driver, or they might have to, instead of their quoted price of $2,000, they might now have to pay $2,700 because that driver needs $700 to tarp. These conveyors that these people move come with computers and electrical wiring on board. So to protect from the elements, they need to be protected. So a Conestoga is the logical choice because they still can load easy, but they also have that protection they need to make sure the computer and electrical parts arrive in working fashion to the consignee. And so that would be my suggestions for